Welcome to Parent Squad. I'm Felicia Lawrence. If you haven't made a New Year's resolution yet, it is not too late. And why not get your kids involved too? Turns out they might actually be better at sticking to their goals than us parents are. So here to talk more about resolutions for kids is Riley Children's Health Pediatrician, Dr. Shannon Dillon. Dr. Dillon, welcome back.
Thank you. Good to be back.
Yes, Happy New Year. How long do you think we say Happy New Year?
I think we're still within the range. Maybe another week.
All right, so let's start with why resolutions matter.
Well, resolutions are helpful for all of us, but especially for kids because it helps teach them about setting a goal and sticking to it and how to break it down so that you can actually accomplish it. And, then being resilient when it doesn't necessarily go the right way the first time.
And this is really a time for parents to kind of be hands off and let their kids set their own goals.
Yeah, especially as kids start to get older and they can be part of the goal setting process. I think we all know as parents that you get a lot more buy-in from your kids when it's something that they've helped had a decision-making factor themselves and they haven't just been told what they're going to do.
And then it becomes something that they're attached to and connected to.
They have a lot more ownership of it.
Yes, yes. Okay, you have an acronym that's really good for us, and it is a framework for building a good resolution.
It is. So when we think about goals, not just for kids, but for adults, we like to think about what we call SMART goals. So specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely. So those are things to kind of keep in mind as you think about a goal as ways to measure it and kind of quantify, am I going to be able to achieve this as, something to track over time.
Oh, certainly, certainly. And so make sure it's checking all those boxes. Specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, timely. Okay, so another key here is keeping it age appropriate. So what age do you suggest you even start resolution?
It just depends on the kid. Obviously, if you have, younger kids and you have, say, like a 4 or 5-year-old, you probably are going to be taking the lead a little bit more with those kids, but it's not too young to start thinking about things that we want to accomplish. You're going to start a little bit smaller. It might be like, let's practice putting all of our toys away before bedtime every night, or let's make sure we're saying please and thank you or something like that. So, at that age, you want to start off with something really small so you have a lot of success and, go for a really low bar at that age.
My friend has she's like 4.5, 5, and now she's getting her parents saying, yeah, you should. Yeah, you totally do this. She's like, you can't say yeah, you got to say yes. And apparently we say yeah a lot because she's been correcting us. My point is kids can be so focused and can really have the ability to hone in on a specific task or goal, which is really cool.
Right, yeah, if you give them something to actually focus on, we've all had that as a parent where they start focusing on something you don't want them to. So sometimes it's good to channel it in a positive way, to give them something to focus on and work on accomplishing, and they can be really, task-oriented when they want to.
Yes. So you mentioned the 4 and the 5-year-olds. What about kids 5 to 12 and then teens? What would be some good resolutions for them?
So some things for 5 to 10 or so year olds, in that elementary school age might be working on reading 15 to 20 minutes a day, or making your bed every day, or other household chores like taking out the trash on a regular basis, things like that. Maybe trying a new food once a week or something for kids who are on the pickier side. Joining a new activity that they're not sure they like. Those elementary school kids, that's a great age when it's still easy to try out a new activity and it doesn't tend to be as time consuming as it often can for like middle school kids who have to kind of narrow down on one thing at a time a little bit more.
So how can we as parents help the kids turn their goal into a SMART goal and hopefully get them excited about it?
Yeah.
We want it to be fun.
It's, I think when they say, I want to, try a new sport or something like that, you do want to sit down and say, okay, what's that going to look like? What are you going to have to do to make that happen? When are we going to be able to fit that into our schedule of things that we're already doing? How are we going to track that we're making progress as well? Are we going to have like a sticker chart where we keep track of things if it's, reading time or something like that at home? Because you do want to have those little incentives along the way to kind of keep them motivated and see that they're having success.
Yes.
So, and also just kind of at the beginning to, what feels realistic to us. So sometimes as adults too, but kids will have really big ambitions and they're not always really realistic about, well, where are we going to fit that in just a couple of hours that happen, at the end of the day. So sometimes encouraging them to maybe start a little bit smaller and realistic so you have success when you've had those first things, and then that's going to want to motivate them to continue to set goals for themselves.
How do you handle the situation if the goal is a bit too ambitious? Because we don't want to kill any dreams.
Right. I mean, you never want to tell somebody, no, you can't do that. I think it can be good to start to say, all right, well, let's set some like A, B, and C goals and have some smaller goals along the way. So it's, the old adage of, how do you eat an elephant, one bite at a time. So, if your kid comes home and says they want to join the cross-country team or something like that, but they've never run before, maybe you say, all right, well, let's practice running for like 5 minutes at a time this week. And then maybe next week we'll do like, 8 minutes at a time. So you're not going to start off and say, okay, I'm going to go run a 5K the first week, or most of us won't and shouldn't if we don't want to get hurt. So just starting off small. And you don't necessarily want to say, all right, well, we're not going to do that, but starting to use it as an opportunity to say, okay, well, how are we going to practice building up to a bigger goal over time?
Absolutely. Okay, so a lot of parents end up saying that they want weight loss and better health to be a part of their New Year's resolution. I'm sure kids end up hearing that at some point, but it's important to you're saying it's important to make sure that weight loss is not a resolution for a child.
Yeah.
Why is that?
We almost never recommend actual weight loss for kids because kids are always growing, and we want to make sure that we're not limiting their nutrients that are going in so that we're not ultimately like affecting their height and their nutritional status and things. So we would only ever recommend weight loss in a very closely monitored setting for most kids. But that doesn't mean that you couldn't say, let's work on eating more fruits and vegetables as part of our diet, and let's work on trying to be more active, even though it's going to be freezing cold out over the next week. So, and actually psychologically, that tends to work better for us anyway. So, when we all think, okay, it's January and I'm not going to eat any sweets right now, all you can think about is how much you want that cookie that's sitting in the break room at 3 p.m. So if you focus instead on, have I eaten enough fruits and vegetables today? Where can I do more of the healthy things? Your brain is more likely to feel positive about it than if you're thinking about the negative things that you shouldn't be doing instead.
Yeah, I'm glad we talked about that topic because it's in top of mind, I think, in a lot of households, and you want to be careful like what your children hear and what they learn through you. And so you want to teach all the healthy lifestyle stuff, but you also want them to have a healthy correlation with their body, which again is up to us adults to exhibit that.
And you are so right. They're listening all the time, even when you don't think that they're listening. You hear it start to mimic it back. So when you can around your kids, you don't want to talk about weight loss or trying not to gain weight or dieting and things. The goal is healthy and strong. So, we want to give your body healthy building blocks so it can do the things that you want to be able to do, and you can run and play and grow really strong and really powerful, which is not necessarily the messaging that we all heard growing up. So
run, jump, and play. Okay, what is the best way to help the kids track their goals and, of course, support them through this journey?
So, like we started to say earlier, some of it is, helping set up a plan. So, are you going to have a sticker chart to keep track of like how often you've taken out the trash that week? Can you set up a journal for, thinking about, behavior or, something like that? Where's something that you can log? Can you keep track of something? If you have an older kid, is there something you can put in your phone and like keep a log of something like that? There's a lot of great apps for tracking things, and a lot of them have built in like little rewards when you earn a badge if you've done something, if you've eaten enough fruits or something like that. So those can be kind of nice little built-ins that will give kids little motivators to help along the way.
Yeah. I think it's also not a bad idea for us parents either.
No, it's not. We really like rewards more than we realize, even as adults.
A sticker might go a long way for you. Dr. Dillon, thank you. You
are so welcome.
I love that we're having the conversation. Hopefully it helped you. This is great advice for the kids and us parents too. We work to achieve our goals in 2026, so you might even want to adopt some of these for yourself. For more info on Riley Children's Health, head to WTHR.com/Parent Squad. Still to come, we are talking about building positive relationships with your children's teachers. That's important too. We'll be right back.